If you suspect someone is lying to you, your first instinct is usually to confront them. But a direct accusation almost always backfires. It immediately puts the person on the defensive, shutting down any chance of getting to the truth. To get around this, we can use a psychological framework developed by Dr. David J. Lieberman called the S.N.A.P method. It allows you to set invisible conversational traps that reveal a person's true thoughts. Before you try any of these tests, you have to set the right conditions. The environment needs to feel completely casual and non-threatening. You are just having a normal conversation, observing their reactions. By keeping the stakes feeling low, you keep their conscious defenses lowered. That leaves their unconscious mind exposed, which is exactly what we need to force the truth to the surface. Step 1 is a technique called the indirect probe. You use this when you want to test for guilt without actually pointing a finger. Here is how it works. You bring up the specific offense you suspect them of, but you frame it as a problem happening to someone else entirely. Let's say you suspect an employee of stealing office supplies. Instead of asking them if they did it, you ask for their advice. You mention that another department is dealing with a thief and ask how they would handle the situation. An innocent person will treat this like a genuine puzzle. They will stay relaxed, show interest in the topic, and offer constructive advice on how to catch the culprit. A guilty person reacts very differently. You will notice sudden physical discomfort. They might try to abruptly change the subject, or oddly offer an unprompted denial, defending themselves even though you never accused them. A guilty conscience is constantly anticipating punishment. When you introduce an identical scenario, their brain interprets your hypothetical question as a direct, targeted attack. Next is the Dr. Bombay method. This is a diagnostic tool that tests the subject's selective visual attention to uncover what they already know. The human brain is hardwired to process information equally. If you present a person with 3 unknown variables, their eyes will naturally give equal attention to all 3. Imagine you suspect an employee of secretly leaking client lists to a competitor named Mr. Black. You call them in and casually place 3 identical folders on the desk labeled green, blue, and black. If they are innocent, none of those names mean anything to them. Their gaze smoothly scans across all 3 folders, treating them as equally unimportant. But if they have secret dealings with Mr. Black, that folder becomes a threat. Their eyes will either lock unnaturally onto the black folder for too long, or erratically avoid looking at it entirely. Their visual focus gives them away. Where a person's eyes linger, or what they intentionally force themselves to avoid, shows you exactly what their conscious mind is trying to hide. Finally, we have the pronoun check. Sometimes, the best way to spot a lie is to stop watching physical body language entirely and analyze their sentence structure instead. When a person is confident and truthful about a story, they naturally use ownership pronouns. Words like I and we show they are comfortable claiming their role in the events. Deception causes a distinct linguistic shift. When hiding the truth or dealing with guilt, individuals unconsciously drop those ownership pronouns. They mentally distance themselves from the event. Let's look at a text exchange where a friend is telling you about a date. They start out comfortable. You read, "We went to the club, and we had some drinks." They are openly claiming ownership of the night. But then the structure changes. They write, "Then he drove me home." The word we disappears. That sudden shift indicates something went wrong on that drive, and they are hiding a conflict. This linguistic distancing is an automatic defense mechanism. The brain alters the sentence structure to sever the association with the guilt of the event. You now have a practical psychological toolkit. You can use the indirect probe, the Dr. Bombay method, and the pronoun check to gather intelligence without ever initiating a conflict. But before you start interrogating your friends, you need to understand the cluster rule. A single dropped pronoun or a brief nervous tic does not automatically mean someone is lying. True behavioral analysis requires stacking these tests. You are looking for a cluster of evidence, a combination of awkward reactions, selective visual attention, and linguistic distancing, all pointing in the same direction. Try testing the indirect probe in a low-stakes environment this week. And if you want to explore more of these behavioral insights, check out Dr. Lieberman's work to see how